am Courtney Bjorlin. I'm one of the editors on asugnews.com, and the team is here in Anaheim, California. We're covering the SAP Business Objects User Conference this year. One of the major themes we've been discussing over the last 2 days is how the relationship between SAP and ASUG has evolved, really over these past 4 years. And now we're really at a point where the community is influencing such large pieces of the suite as, the BI 4.1 upgrade that was announced into general availability this morning. So I'm really thrilled to be joined now by two long-standing members of this community. I have Jason Rose and Jayne Landry. Thank you so much for visiting the studio again.
Thanks.
And we started off a little bit by telling about what you have in common. You both raise chickens at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's how you come up with these ideas for, these funny presentations and everything.
Exactly.
Well, the analytics have to be easy enough that even, a chicken person can run them, so.
So talk to us a little bit about what you do at SAP, please.
Well, I've just recently moved into a new role at SAP. I'm now heading up all of our business intelligence go-to-market. So I was formerly looking after our embedded solutions and our bundled solutions and our solutions for SME. And now looking after all of the business intelligence solutions.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. And Jason?
Jason Rose, I lead the BI product marketing team globally for SAP, and I'm kind of like a rock. I've been doing it for over 4 years now and continue to lead the charge on our communications and product marketing.
So let's talk about, yesterday we had our Influencer Summit, as I mentioned at the top of the interview. What were some of the major ideas and concerns and positive items that you heard come out of that summit?
Sure. So it's the Influencer Summit is where we get together with all of the leaders of the strategic advisory groups from within ASUG that provide us not only feedback at a point in time, so this wasn't like a big report out. We work with those groups throughout the year. And then once a year we get together and kind of do a reset. We recap where we've been, what we've accomplished, and where we're going to go next. And this year, some of the big things that we accomplished were a big refresh of the roadmap. So with 4.1 going live just today, we did the announcement. But we also put live a brand new BI roadmap that's out there as of today as well. We've also taken a lot of feedback from the community in terms of where can they find resources to help them with the upgrade, where can they find tutorials. And we've actually just launched a new website called www.sapbusinessobjectsbi.com. where we've centralized all that content into one place. And again, that was driven largely by feedback from this community. So it's a really great two-way communication between SAP and ASUG and the members of those strategic initiatives.
Yeah, it really is a super interesting and dynamic relationship, and it's going to be great to see where it goes. Now that the strategic SIG is sort of evolving its role into more of a traditional ASUG SIG model. But Jayne, so when it comes to BI 4.1, a lot of this, of course, was customer-driven. Talk to me about that relationship with the input, and then what are some of the major features and functionality we're going to see in this release?
Yes, well, as we were designing BI 4.1, we had a lot of input from some of the ASUG user groups. And what they were telling us was that the IT teams were excited about the technology, but they didn't necessarily know the use cases that their line of business users were seeing. And the line of business users had the business pain, but they didn't know what was possible with the tools. So they wanted us to help them bridge that gap. So with this release, we've really thought about the needs of the developers, the needs of business analysts, and the needs of end users, and how people work together to solve problems for their organization. So with BI 4.1, you start to see those workflows where a developer can leverage new SDKs to bring in data from other sources. An analyst can do heavy lifting with an analysis tool, but within a couple of clicks, deliver it as a dashboard or a report or on a mobile device for an end user.
That's interesting. So how are you going to talk about that to the community here, which is primarily, would be the developers and the business analysts? How is that going to be positioned by you in order for them to be able to figure out how to bring the right tools to their staff?
So one of the things we launched this morning with Christian's keynote was really the new, what we call analytics messaging, around focusing on 3 key areas. One was enterprise business intelligence, which I think most of the community is very focused on in terms of creating that common platform that allows common exchange of information and ideas across corporate information. And then the other 2 categories, agile visualization, falls more into how do I as an individual inside the organization now mash up information from my personal sources with the corporate information, and then share the visualizations and insights that I might come up from that data with everybody else. So that's the agile visualization piece, more targeted towards that business analyst persona. And then finally, advanced analytics. So how do we take all of that information and really bring it to the next level and look at what comes next? What can we anticipate based on the information we're seeing, and how can we embed those predictive processes into more business processes as well as more data within the organization? And really, as we look at enterprise BI, agile visualization, and advanced analytics, is really how we're talking to those 3 different sets of communities.
And what about the data geeks?
Well, there's lots in BI 4.1 for our data geeks, and they'll be really pleased to see a whole bunch of SDKs and APIs so that they can really customize the experience for their users. Bring in data from pretty much any data source. On the mobile side of things, we've now got one mobile client with an SDK, so they can bring in, whether it's a report or a dashboard, into that single client for their end users, but then also customize the experience, take it a step further, bring in the Sybase Unwired platform and actually be able to create custom mobile experiences for their user community.
So let me ask you this. I mean, a few years ago we were here talking about 4.0, now we're here talking about 4.1. How do we ensure people that next year we're not going to see on the stage, hey, 4.2, this is the release, this is the go-to release, here, 4.1?
Well, I think, every year we want to continue to innovate, and that's definitely a big theme at SAP is innovation, but innovation without disruption. So what you see is when you move from 4.0 to 4.1, all of the investments you've already made will come with you. And we will continue to innovate with the next release as well, but also make sure that our customers can come along on that journey with us. Jason talked about enterprise BI and agile visualization and predictive analysis. For us, that's a journey, and you can start at any point on that journey, but when you're ready to take that next step, we'll help you do that as well.
Very interesting. So let me ask you this, and you can agree or disagree with this. With 4.0, it seemed to be a release more for SAP shops, right? There was a lot of enhancements with BW integration, some of the BEX tools from that part of the old BI, SAP BI set. 4.1 seems to be being positioned as the release for everyone, including the non-SAP back-end customers as well. Would you agree with that?
So maybe I'll start, and Jane, you can add in. So with 4.0, actually, we did a lot of work in the semantic layer. So separating out the information design tool from the actual universe creation, and actually bringing in things like multi-source universes, which had been huge requests from our existing business objects community. Having said that, obviously, that was the first major release that came out post the acquisition of business objects by SAP. So we also released a few things like something that was called Project Pioneer for people that kind of go way back in time. That really was that OLAP tool for the BW customer. So we had to strike a balance in 4.0. In 4.1, I'd say we've struck a similar balance where there's some great new data sources, support for Hadoop Hive, support for Amazon Elastic MapReduce for big data, and again, more data sources than ever before supported within the platform. But then we've also done things like, for example, you can now take HANA business views and actually automatically have a universe generated on top of them. So, again, as we look at HANA, well, that's a data source that whether you're a long-term SAP customer with core ERP systems or you're somebody running other source systems, heaven forbid Oracle or something like that, guess what? That HANA appliance is is actually a really powerful analytical engine that now we're integrating closely in with our BI. So even though we've continued to do work for some of the SAP technologies, I really think all of the customers should really take a hard look at some of this technology and the benefits it could potentially provide to their customers and their installed base.
Very interesting, very interesting.
And picking up on the idea of BI for everyone, I think the 4.1 release is really compelling for our OEM partners and customers. So we have around 1,600 independent software vendors that embed our technology within their applications. And 4.1 is a really exciting release for them because there's additional SDKs and APIs that they can now take to really take advantage of a lot of the new functionality within the solutions that they're delivering. So it's a great release for them. I know they've been looking forward to it, and it's now here, so we're really happy to bring that to them. Many of those ISVs, just as SAP's moving applications to the cloud, they're doing the same. And so we also have in 4.1, and we started in 4.0 with providing multi-tenancy support, but we've taken that even a step further with 4.1 to really reduce the cost of onboarding new tenants and managing that sort of cloud deployment.
Yeah, it really shows how you're continuing to broaden the ecosystem or making sure that it doesn't shrink when it comes to the business objects community. Let me ask you this to close out our talk here. What are you looking forward to learning at the show from customers, from anything that's going on here?
Well, I always love meeting with customers and partners because they really just hit us hard and ask the tough questions. So I'm really looking forward to having those sorts of conversations and really understanding, what are they seeing in the marketplace? What are we doing well? But also, what do we have in terms of gaps? Where would they like to see us innovate next? So that we can start to bring that into our product roadmap, and as we think about that next release, what should be in there? What's going to have the biggest impact in the marketplace for them?
And I always look forward to the interaction with the ASUG volunteers and kind of really using this. Like I said, we work with those strategic groups throughout the year. And really this is an opportunity for us, all of us, to get together, checkpoint where we've come throughout the year and really set the expectations for next year. So really great to meet with and get together with old friends and a lot of the ASUG volunteers here and really kind of keep that relationship going and keep pushing the ball forward for both SAP and ASUG.
That's a great way to close out. Keep pushing the ball forward. Well, thank you so much for joining me. We had a great conversation, many different topics, and I always appreciate your willingness to take on the tough stuff, so thank you very much. Coming up next, we've got a lot of more exciting news about SAP BI 4.1, so please stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us.